Bill O'Reilly here. You are listening to the O'Reilly Update. Coming up next, the news with Mike Slater.
Thank you, Bill. It is Monday, April 1st, 2024. Here's what's happening today in America. Happy Transgender Day of Visibility. $20 an hour, 20 years since Google unveiled this, and the Final Four is set. It's all coming up. Then Bill's going to be here with your message of the day. But first, Biden's big fundraiser raised a lot of money. It was held at Radio City Music Hall, featuring Presidents Obama and Clinton. All three were on stage, asked questions by Stephen Colbert. They raised $26 million. At the end of February, Biden's campaign had $155 million on hand, and now this added on to it. Biden said last night showed the skeptics, it showed the press, it showed everyone that we are united. Democrats are. The same day that was taking place, Trump was at the wake of the New York City police officer who was shot by the guy who had been arrested 21 times already. Meanwhile, President Biden on Easter chose to issue a proclamation on Transgender Day of Visibility. And when Republicans, of course, commented on this, his spokesperson said, sadly, it's unsurprising that politicians are seeking to divide and weaken our country with cruel, hateful, and dishonest rhetoric. Today, fast food workers in California will be making $20 an hour. Of all the people who work in fast food, over 500,000 are not teenagers looking to earn some extra spending money, but instead are adults looking to support their families. There's a problem there that we got to that point. Someone in California who owns 10 Auntie Anne's pretzels said increasing his employees' wages will cost him almost $500,000 a year and will have to raise prices about 5 to 15%. Not hire any more people and never open up another location in California. 20 years ago today, Google unveiled what has got to be one of their most popular products, Gmail. Google often has April Fool's jokes, so people thought this was a joke when they announced it, especially that it allowed a gigabyte of storage. That's 13,000 emails. And the largest email server back then, Yahoo and Microsoft, they allowed 30 emails. The Final Four is all set. North Carolina State, their first Final Four since 1984, versus Purdue, their first Final Four since 1980. And then Alabama with their first Final Four appearance ever versus UConn, who won it last year. Now check this out. UConn is the first defending champ to make it back to the Final Four the next year since Florida back in 2006 and 2007. That's something. It's been 17 years since the defending champion made it back to the Final Four. Has anyone seen Bill's bracket? Who does Bill have going all the way? I'm Mike Slater from the podcast Politics by Faith. The great Bill O'Reilly has your message of the day. Next.
Everything is expensive these days, you know that. The government is printing trillions of dollars and consumer prices higher than ever. If the government continues its printing and spending, the dollar could continue its free fall, but there are a few things you can do right now. American Hartford Gold can show you how to protect your money, your retirement, your hard-earned savings against inflation by helping you diversify a portion of your portfolio into physical gold and silver. Start with a short phone call, and they can have physical gold and silver delivered right to your door or put inside your 401k or IRA. So please call or text them right now. Tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you. Call 877-444-GOLD, 877-444-GOLD, or text GOLD to 65532. Again, that's 877-444-GOLD or text GOLD to 65532. Time now for the O'Reilly Update message of the day. On this Monday, we have legitimized extremism in America. Now, it's always been here. The Ku Klux Klan had to be beaten down by federal forces. U.S. Grant was behind that. But now, because of cyberspace, because of the devices, because of irresponsible companies, we have extremism being disguised as normalcy. If you go on the internet websites, you can find the most vile, hateful stuff in the world. And some Americans, don't ask me why, believe this stuff. But even in the mainstream media, the corporate media, we have hateful things on display every day. Now, MSNBC is the best example of this. That is owned by Comcast, which owns NBC News, and NBC News produces MSNBC. If you watch that channel, you will get a steady stream of America is evil. The United States has always been bigoted. Blacks don't have a chance. Minorities don't have a chance. White patriarchy is ruining our country. Day in, day out, nonstop. What are you doing, NBC? I'm Bill O'Reilly. I approve the message by writing it. You can reach me, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, name and town if you wish to opine. Now let's go to the mail. David, concierge member, I believe the 9 House Republicans who voted against the resolution to condemn Putin for kidnapping Ukrainian children did so because of their dislike of Speaker Mike Johnson. Well, if that's true, and I certainly don't know if it is, that's despicable. You stick up for the kids. Jim, concierge member, and all of these concierge members are by accident. I didn't seek them out, but they had good questions. Bill, what would have to change in terms of process of law to restrict a single loon judge from reversing rulings, sometimes from the highest court? How can a single judge in New Orleans stop Texas from detaining migrants? It wasn't a single judge. It was a federal court of appeals based in New Orleans with 3 judges. Supreme Court kicked it back to them. They put a stay on the Texas law, so it stops cold. That'll be appealed. The judges in New Orleans, the 3-judge appeals court, will rule. And if they rule against Texas, Texas then will file, and it'll go back to the Supreme Court. It's a little complicated, but you have to go through the stair step to get to the Supremes. Les Hartsfield, Camas, Washington. Why aren't the NGOs who are aiding and abetting illegals and defying immigration laws being sued? Because the federal government is funding many of those NGOs. They're doing humanitarian work. What are we going to sue them on? Federal government's sending them money to house and feed migrants. So that's what the situation is. In a moment, something you might not know. Bill O'Reilly here for Lone Star Transfer. If booking your timeshare has been difficult in the past, you know it's been almost impossible lately. Most clients are shocked to learn that their timeshare is now available to the public, severely limiting booking options. Many owners are upset their yearly dues have nearly doubled during this maintenance fee season. For well over a decade, this family-owned company has had the pleasure of helping more than 18,000 owners legally and permanently get out of their timeshare fees. With an A+ rating at the Better Business Bureau and more than 900 5-star testimonials, Lone Star Transfer is a company you can trust. Lone Star Transfer guarantees the release of all liability to your timeshare in writing and in a specific time frame. So please call my friends today for a free, no-obligation consultation at 855-551-7066, 855-551-7066, or online at lonestartransfer.com. Now the O'Reilly Update brings you something you might not know. It is officially April Fool's Day. The pranksters' holiday is celebrated in more than 50 countries around the world. Did you know that? The history behind the bizarre ritual goes back centuries. Here is the story. In 1582, Europe switched from the Julian to the Gregorian calendar. New Year's Day was moved from the 1st of April to the 1st of January. Villagers who didn't get the memo still celebrated New Year's Day in the spring. The nobles mocked the locals as foolish. Over the decades, the holiday has created some pretty incredible pranks. In 1957, the BBC reported that Swiss farmers were experiencing a record spaghetti crop. Camera crews filmed folks in the Alps harvesting noodles from trees. In 1992, National Public Radio reported Richard Nixon was launching a comeback for the White House. The segment made its way to the nightly news. An actor depicting Nixon promised voters, quote, "I never did anything wrong, and I won't do it again." 4 years later, Taco Bell announced it had purchased Philadelphia's Liberty Bell for $50,000 and planned to rename it the Taco Liberty Bell. According to the Washington Post, multiple members of Congress called the National Park Service to stop the alleged sale. In 2016, National Geographic promised readers they would no longer use images of naked animals. Instead, they published a story featuring puppies wearing underwear and diapers. And here's something else you might not know about April Fool's Day. It causes panic for millions of Americans suffering from farceophobia, the fear of practical jokes. 15% of adults say the holiday causes severe anxiety. The biggest fears for those suffering from farceophobia: loud noises, clowns, and electric shock. So be safe out there on April Fool's Day. Back after this. If you own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles and have an auto warranty about to expire or have no warranty at all, listen up. Car Shield has a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that's now available to the public. Save on out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. So please call Car Shield now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. 800-925-7584 for a free quote. This protection plan is at an all-time low in price. Drivers who activate the vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. So please call for your free quote, 800-925-7584, 800-925-7584. Hey, what do you have to lose? 800-925-7584. Thank you for listening to the O'Reilly Update. I am Bill O'Reilly. No spin, just facts, and always looking out for you.